Today we're taking a look at these college basketball matches, which are happening on Saturday, January 21st, 2023, and giving you our team and total picks for today. Welcome back to High Stakes. Before we dive into our video, don't forget to subscribe and push that notification bell to get notified as soon as we release these sport prediction videos, and make sure to watch it till the end so you don't miss any of our picks. Also check out our Patreon if you want access our premium picks. Our Patreon is a way for us to help you improve your chances of making more money. You will find the link in description and comments section below. One more thing before we start, check out our new channel High Stakes Props and Parlays, where you can find our player props and parlay picks predictions. You will find the link in the description and comments section below. Xavier Musketeers vs Georgetown Hoyas. The Georgetown Hoyas remain on the road Saturday with a trip into Xavier to take on the Musketeers. Georgetown is 11th in the Big East with a 5-14 record. The Hoyas are riding a 9-game losing streak and have won just one of their last 10 games. Georgetown is averaging 34.3 rebounds per game. Qudus Wahab leads Georgetown on the season with 7.8 rebounds per game. Far too many points to pass up on. Georgetown is bad, we know that, but if you gave them 19.5 they would have covered against Villanova twice, UConn, Seton Hall, DePaul, and Xavier this season. The Hoyas are not losing by 20 every night as the spread implies. In their most recent game they were almost able to beat Villanova, in Xavier's last game they were beaten by an inferior DePaul. I do not see this as two lucky occasions. Georgetown may have found some success with their offense, and some of Xavier's holes may have been exposed by DePaul. Spears and Murray are legit Big East wings, and Wahab has size inside to battle the Xavier bigs. Georgetown may not win this game, but they will cover this spread. Take Georgetown with the points. Ole Miss vs Arkansas. Two teams in the bottom of the SEC standings play Saturday afternoon when the Ole Miss Rebels, 9-9, 6-10 at TS, 1-5 SEC, travel to play the Arkansas Razorbacks, 12-6, 7-10 at TS, 1-5 SEC. Ole Miss just picked up their first conference win on the road, beating South Carolina 70-58, covering the spread as 5.5-point favorites. Arkansas just lost their fourth straight game, going down at Missouri 79-76, missing the cover as 1.5-point dogs. This is their only matchup this season. Last year Arkansas beat Ole Miss by 9 on the road. Tip-off is scheduled for 12 o'clock Eastern Time and will be televised on ESPN2. This is a big spread for a team that has gone 1-5 in conference play. Arkansas has not played well enough without Smith Jr. and Brazel to warrant being favored by 9.5 in conference games. Arkansas has not covered in 6 straight games, and it is as if the books have not adjusted enough to how much these injuries hurt the Razorbacks. Arkansas lost outright as the favorite against LSU, Alabama, and Vanderbilt already. Ole Miss has not been great either, but they have only been blown out once in conference play against Alabama. Our team pick is Ole Miss plus 9.5 points. The Rebels can keep this game close, as Morrell has been hot for Ole Miss lately, coming off a 23-point performance and a win. This is simply too many points. Miami Hurricanes vs Duke Blue Devils. It's an ACC matchup as a pair of teams take the floor in search of a victory on Tobacco Road. The Miami Hurricanes are on the road as they make the trip to take on the Duke Blue Devils Saturday afternoon. Miami knocked off Syracuse 82-78 at home in their previous contest Monday night, failing to cover the line as a 6.5-point favorite. Duke was knocked off 72-64 on the road by Clemson in their previous contest last Saturday, losing outright as a 1-point favorite. In the all-time series between the teams, the Blue Devils own a 23-9 advantage, including an 80-76 win in the ACC tournament semifinals in the most recent matchup on March 11, 2022. This one is going to be a clash of styles. Miami has been a very good team on the offensive end of the floor this season, though they have had some rough moments defensively of late. The Hurricanes have surrendered at least 76 points in 3 of their last 4 games and are 3-2 as the road team this season. Duke has been sound defensively in Shayer's first year as a head coach, though their offensive production has lagged this season. The Blue Devils are always dangerous at home as they are 9-0 on the year. Both teams crash the glass hard and are great at the charity stripe. Our team pick is Duke Blue Devils minus 5 points. At the end of the night, Duke takes advantage of feeding off the home crowd and delivers a victory. Charleston Cougars vs Northeastern Huskies. There will probably come a day when the Cougars will lose a conference game with the way they are playing. They also have covered just once in their last 5 games. They struggled on Thursday against Monmouth, beat UNCAA on the road by 2, and needed overtime to beat Towson on the road on December 31st. They are also shooting just 42.7% on the road, and Northeastern is holding teams to just 42.6% from the field at home. Our team pick is Northeastern plus 8.5 points. There aren't many teams that are built to beat this team, but the Huskies have the length and enough rebounders. If they can keep their turnovers to 10 or less, they have a chance of winning this game outright. Syracuse Orange vs Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets. The men of Orange head to Atlanta as Syracuse and Georgia Tech meet up in an ACC affair. Syracuse, 12-7, 5-3, lost to number 17 Miami on Monday, 82-78, as plus 6.5 road dogs. Georgia Tech, 8-10, 1-7, got stomped by North Carolina State on Tuesday, 78-66, at home as plus 6 underdogs. This is the first of 2 meetings between the schools, with tip-off schedules for 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time from McCamish Pavilion. The Orange have a steady creep-up happening, moving from 111 to 108 in the NCAA net rankings, as they still search for a marquee win to put on their resume. This will certainly not be that, but it's another chance for Syracuse to prove they can handle the teams they are supposed to. Cuse is scoring 74.6 per game in ACC play and have been shooting the ball at a much better clip than the Yellow Jackets of late, despite averaging nearly 7 less shots per game over the last 5. Syracuse is 5-3 at TS in conference play and 3-2 at TS on the road. Georgia Tech is 2-6 at TS in conference and 5-5 at TS at home. Our team pick is Syracuse minus 3.5 points. The Yellow Jackets are going to find it hard to shoot on the Orange defense, and they're already down in that department to begin with. UCF vs South Florida. Central Florida hits up American Athletic Conference rival South Florida for a Saturday matinee. UCF, 13-5, 4-2, got cut down at Tulane last Saturday, 77-69, as plus 3 underdogs. US, 8-11, 1-5, were beat at home by Cincinnati on Wednesday, 86-69, as plus 4 underdogs. Get your bets in early, we have a noon Eastern Standard Time tip-off from the Euengling Center. Central Florida has been even up on the road this year, 2-2 straight up, and ATS South Florida has struggled at home, going 5-7 straight up and 4-8 at TS. In conference play the Knights are 3-1 at TS, and the Bulls are 3-3 at TS. South Florida has been shooting a tick better than UCF over the last 5 games, and they have both averaged around 25 field goals made per game in that stretch, but UCF is still scoring about 7 points more than the Bulls in that stretch. The Knights have also gotten off 3.2 more field goal attempts in that stretch. Our team pick is Central Florida minus 5.5 points. I love how UCF has been able to plug players right in if someone goes down. That shows that they have guys ready to go at all times, and that should help them stretch this Bulls rotation out. I like UCF, who are 3-1 at TS in the last 4 meetings, to run away late with this one. Rhode Island Rams vs George Mason Patriots. George Mason will go on the road for the first time in 10 days when it travels to Rhode Island on Saturday afternoon. The Patriots split a pair of road games last weekend, beating Davidson before losing to George Washington. Rhode Island has lost 3 of its last 4 games, falling to UMass and Richmond in its last 2 games. It's not entirely surprising to me that Rhode Island has been struggling away from home, as the Rams are an inexperienced team. They are now getting to return home for 3 games with some value in the betting market due to that tough scheduling stretch, though. Meanwhile, George Mason has really suffered without gains on the court, as he is not only a key scorer and rebounder, but he does a lot of little things to help the team. The Patriots also have to overcome the mental hurdle that Rhode Island presents, as the Rams have won 7 of the last 8 meetings between these teams. Our team pick is Rhode Island plus 2 points. George Mason has some experience on its roster, but a lot of them are transfers playing together for the first time, which has led to the Patriots losing 7 straight road games. George Washington Colonials vs Dayton Flyers. A pair of teams from the Atlantic 10 take the floor in search of a victory in the nation's capital. The Dayton Flyers are on the road as they make the trip to take on the George Washington Colonials Saturday afternoon. Dayton took down Davidson 68-61 at home in their previous contest Tuesday night, though they failed to cover the line as an 11-point favorite. George Washington was on the road and took down George Mason 78-75 in their previous contest Monday night, winning outright as an 8-point underdog. In the all-time series between the schools, the Flyers own a 22-18 advantage and have won the last 6 meetings. That includes an 80-54 home win in the most recent matchup on February 12, 2022. Dayton has played solid basketball of late with 9 wins in their last 10 games after splitting their first 8 games of the year. The Flyers have relied heavily on their defense as the offense has lagged most of the year, partially due to the injury that has sidelined Elvis for the last 6+ weeks. George Washington has been playing better than in recent seasons, especially on the offensive end, but they are facing one of the stingiest defensive teams in the nation here. The Flyers are 6th in the country in both field goal percentage defense, 37.7%, and 3-point field goal percentage defense, 26.9% this season. RT pick is Dayton Flyers minus 6.5 points. Even on the road, you have to back Dayton with their momentum as they earn the win here. Massachusetts vs. St. Joseph's. The UMass Minutemen hit the road and head to the land of cheesesteaks as they prepare to take on St. Joseph's in Philadelphia in A-10 action on Saturday. UMass comes into this matchup at 11-6 this season and 2-3 in A-10 play thus far. The Hawks of St. Joseph's have a record of 8-10 thus far overall and 2-4 in conference play. The opening tap for this A-10 rivalry game is set for 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. 2 teams playing at opposite ends of the spectrum at the moment will do battle on Saturday. St. Joe's comes in with 2 straight wins and looking to climb one step closer to .500 on the season. UMass, meanwhile, has lost 3 of 4 games heading into this matchup and are just 2-3 on the road. St. Joe's is red hot from long range, hitting on nearly 44% from 3 PT range over the last 3 games. UMass is hitting on just 38% from the field overall in its last 3 games. The Minutemen now face a Hawks team that has held the opposition to just 41% shooting in the last 3 games. If Fernandez is unable to go for UMass, they will not have enough firepower to stay in this game. Our team pick is St. Joseph's minus 2.5 points. I like the high-flying Hawks to pick up a crucial league win here as they hotter team in an otherwise fairly even matchup. Georgia Bulldogs vs. Vanderbilt Commodores. A pair of teams from the SEC take the floor in the Peach State, looking to earn a conference victory. The Vanderbilt Commodores are on the road as they travel to face the Georgia Bulldogs Saturday afternoon. Vanderbilt comes in off a 78-66 home loss to number 4 Alabama Tuesday night in their previous contest, failing to cover the line as a 9-point underdog. Georgia fell apart in the second half against Kentucky, losing 85-71 on the road and failing to cover as an 11.5-point underdog. In the all-time series between the teams, Vanderbilt owns an 84-49 advantage and has won the last 3 meetings, including an 86-51 rout in the SEC tournament in the most recent matchup on March 9, 2022. This is not the Georgia team that people got used to seeing under Tom Crean. After winning no more than 16 games in any of Crean's seasons at the helm, but White has got his team playing tough defense. The Bulldogs have been terrific at home this season, posting a perfect 10-0 mark in Athens. Vanderbilt has been average on both ends of the floor, and they will have their work cut out for them in this contest. The Commodores are just 1-3 on the road this season, and they have to be better when it comes to shooting the ball. Our team pick is Georgia Bulldogs minus 3 points. Georgia is solid defensively, holding teams to 41.1% shooting overall, 69th in the nation, and only 27.7% from beyond the arc, 8th this season. Look for Georgia to do the job defensively and remain unbeaten at home. TCU at Kansas. Number 14 TCU and number 2 Kansas will both be looking for bounce-back performances when they square off in a crucial Big 12 battle on Saturday afternoon. The Horned Frogs have dropped 3 of their last 4 games, with the latest setback being a 74-65 loss at West Virginia on Wednesday. Kansas had its 10-game winning streak snapped in an 83-82 loss at number 13 Kansas State in overtime on Tuesday. Kansas might have a tough time recovering from its loss at Kansas State earlier this week, especially since it came in overtime on the road. Wilson had to play all 45 minutes of that game, which could certainly lead to a mediocre showing on Saturday. Our team pick is TCU plus 7.5 points. TCU is hungry for a big win after a recent rough patch, and I like the way this game fits into the schedule for the Horned Frogs. They are an experienced team that relies on their defense to win games, which makes them a low-variance team on the road. Their height should also factor into this contest, as they are one of the top offensive rebounding teams in the country. They have rarely won games against Kansas over the last decade, but they have covered the spread in 4 of the last 6 meetings.